That was literally gagged.
Get your hands off me.
You're the first to suggest that I have discriminated against a black man.
Then let the record show that I'm the second.
But when we walked in here this morning, they were chanting that the whole world is watching.
If we leave here without saying anything about why we came in the first place, it'll be heartbreaking.
Last summer, why did you come to the convention?
To end the war.
We're giving them exactly what they want, a stage and an audience.
Yeah, you really think there's going to be a big audience?
This is what revolution looks like, real revolution. We may have to hurt somebody's feelings.
Is this prosecution politically motivated?
I'm tired of hearing you.
It would be impossible for me to care any less what you are tired of.
There will be order.
We have to find some courage now.
How much is it worth to you? What's your price? To call off the revolution? My life.
Hello, I'm Thomas Carruthers.
And I am fearing for my life.
You always say this. You did this on the last Juno one. You said this on, what was the last time you said it? Oh, Dicks, the musical. What a great
Yeah,
film.
but this is like this. I can't really articulate how important this is to me in particular.
Well, let's preface it by starting there. I not only, well, I didn't forget about this film. I knew that this, I know everything. But deep COVID 2020, well, not deep COVID, sorry. It was at Christopher Court.
Mm-hmm. We can dox ourselves now because we don't live there anymore.
I think I said that before.
Called Christopher Court.
I think I've said that before. Anyway, but it came out, and I watched it on the opening day because I was like, oh no, Aaron Sorkin movie, it'll probably be in the Oscar conversation. And then there was a kind of small wave that lasted a week of like other people watching it. I think they all did a big group watch or something, and I was busy. And then for a week, everyone was like, wow, it's the best movie ever. That was like so powerful. And there was one particular person who I've never liked, and you now don't like either, and who would constantly say, like, take the hill or the world is watching. And this isn't a full Bo Burnham situation where I now don't like the Chicago 7. But and I thought, okay, that was very entertaining Sorkin stuff. Lots of terrible directorial choices. And it's the same opinion I've kind of had with most of his recent films that he's directed himself, which is, God, I wish Rob Reiner directed this, or David Fincher directed this, or in the literal case of what this project began as, I wish Steven Spielberg directed this, because I do think most of my issues lie with the directing. However, so as we sort of said last week on Juno, we're different movie watchers. I find a movie that I love. It kind of boggles me. It doesn't boggle me. But like, if I loved a movie as much as you love this movie, the first thing I do is, who is this Aaron Sorkin? Let me watch everything. And you just haven't done that. You've watched Social Network through osmosis. I showed you The American President as a Venn diagram exercise because we were talking about Michael Douglas, and you said that your favorite actor was Michael J. Fox, and I said, "Oh well, have you watched The American President?" You didn't.
Pretty random of me. I don't think I said it was my favorite, but.
And then. And then that's it, presumably.
Yeah, I mean, I always say that I'm going to watch someone's body of work, whether it's a specific actor or a director, and then I just get overstimulated and move on to the next shiny thing. But I'm also a creature of habit, and I like familiarity. And so if there is a specific title that I do like, odds are I will watch it several times, which is exactly what happened in the case of Juno. And this one maybe maybe like because I've got my top 10 films are kind of split into categories of like nostalgia and like things I've grown up with versus contemporary things that just resonate with me. And I think of that camp is probably the one that I've watched the most.
Which is insane, and I'm
It is
the
insane, and
I
like
know, I know.
I'm aware that it's a very niche.
No,
Well,
no, no, no. I don't want you to defend yourself so much because I am the king of the weird comfort movie. These are
mhm.
my big. I wanted to come in with this energy. I'm the king of the weird comfort movie. In the sense, I love the three pick series because I get to be like, oh, all right, sure, that's interesting. Um, interesting. Wow, okay, you like that movie. But on the other
Because
hand,
one day I will meet my soulmate, and we're gonna talk about this film
the
over the.
The trial of the Chicago's. Well, this is the thing. You want this is and this is another thing where I think you like this movie a lot more than not you should than I do. And it is that annoying thing that I do sometimes, and I really try to avoid in that Sorkin is such an authorial voice. Like all of like they all sound like they all all of these movies sound the same. There is infamously the this movie doesn't have either, but like in multiple movies, he ends big speeches about how there's one in Philip Seymour Hoffman does in Charlie Wilson's War, which is fine. But there's one in Alec Baldwin that he delivers in Malice, which is great. And they're talking about how great they are, and he goes, "And I am never sick at sea." And he just like reuses it. And then there's like loads of people who love Gilbert O'Sullivan. And so watching this, you have to understand that for me, he is playing the hits and not doing anything different. And I have seen him do this better in oh so many ways. And so that is in many ways an unfair criticism against the film. But you have to understand that point of view because to be
I suppose
frank,
it's a valid criticism against the director. Um, but yeah, I think there's something virtuous about seeing it out of that context that makes you appreciate the choices a lot more because I think you can say that they're overdone, but I think they are very fitting for this particular project.
yeah, sure. But my big thing with Sorkin, you look at his best movies, A Few Good Men, um, Social Network. Social Network, he wins his Oscar for. Moneyball, he has a hand in writing. And I really love Steve Jobs. Did you ever watch Steve Jobs? Michael Fassbender, Steve Jobs. It was very, very good. And the one thing that all of those movies have in common is that they're directed by some of the greatest directors that we've ever had. And to be frank, I just don't think Sorkin is a very good director. And I think so much of this is, if not well made, frustratingly made, and doesn't have close to any visual flair, and just feels so bland and inorganic. And the only reason that I still enjoy this movie a lot is that stellar script that I do have some issues with, but overall, just there are too many anyway. Why
I
is
just
there a
want to preface
particular go
this
on?
next bit by saying so we've obviously had it out about this film before, not in full, because I guess you just really wanted an episode about it. um, but you did your rewatch, and then you messaged me with three bullet pointed um opinions. Is it
Yes.
like a two truths and a lie
No, no,
situation?
no, they were all truths.
They were all truths. Okay.
Did you think it was like no, they were all
I thought
truths.
it was like, oh, you have to guess which one I actually thought.
No, read them because I think it's true.
You said, it's worse than I thought, than I remember. It's better than I remember. It's so, it's so much better. It's astounding.
No, I one minute, I didn't say that. Um, I said,
Oh, your review is so positive. It's astounding.
oh
Oh,
yes,
the original one.
my original review. This was my original review. Which some things I stand by. I don't right to be honest. This was 2020. The there weren't many
A lot was
movies.
going on.
There weren't many movies coming out. So instead of like me now not sweating, but like I have like 5 movies that I need to catch up and review on. Whereas now it was like, oh, one a week, maybe one a fortnight. And so we have to understand that mindset. I still hated Nomadland no matter what. It doesn't matter when that movie comes out. A sturdy and very entertaining 8 out of 10. Correction. That is correct, apart from it should be like 7 or 6. Sorkin delivers yet another obnoxiously watchable film of supreme intelligence, whilst never getting in the way of the inherent seriousness of the plot or the power of the real people he is depicting. I have no doubt that this will be a serious Oscar contender for the popular crowd come next year. And when it comes to popular Oscar bait fare, this is a far sight better than many of the other films that could be described as such. Which I think I stand by beyond the 7 out of 10. Let's touch on the Oscars now, because this was the COVID Oscars. So we get a series of movies and then movies just stop. And this is where, and again, comparison is often a fruitless form of criticism. This movie for me was not helped at all by the fact that 2 months later, a far, far superior movie, directorially, on the page, definitely in performance, and just in the overall aesthetic and world and believability and grit of what is being depicted, about 1968 came out, showing multiple of the same people with Judas and the Black Messiah, which was, and then to go back to this after watching Judas and the Black Messiah and have the Fred Hampton character come in. I don't want to paint Sorkin as some sort of like boomer white guy, but it feels like a cutscene from Forrest Gump. Like, Fred Hampton walking in. Hi, I'm Fred Hampton. Well, no, we got those abysmal title cards because he doesn't trust his audience. And he's like, Fred Hampton, Black Panther. And it's like, okay, hi. And he just sits down. And it's like, I can understand the frustration. Obviously, this movie isn't about Fred Hampton. It's about Bobby Seale. But actually, that's kind of false because Fred Hampton died after the court trial. And so that's a load of bullshit in the middle about Fred Hampton dying. So Sorkin did make this about that, which leads me to my next point, is that there are so many biopics and factual movies that I love that take liberties. So I don't know why so many of the liberties here stick in my craw. And I don't want to hold them against the movie because I think that that's unfair, because I don't hold it against movies that I love. And this is a movie that I hold in medium esteem. And so it's not fair that I hold those criticisms of what he changed and factually altered against this. However, I would like to discuss them because in each turn, I do think they're weird choices that either take us away from what could have been a better movie and make this a very, very, well, I keep saying Sorkin movie, but you don't know what that is because your only Sorkin movie is this. So we can't really have that conversation. But you know of The West Wing.
Sure. Yeah. And like I say, I know Social Network and that kind of like pingy like pacing and dialogue and kind of like, I guess glamorization is the wrong word, because it's interesting that you bring up biopics with my long-standing kind of love-hate relationship with biopics and how they're handled. The Fred Hampton thing I wasn't aware of, but I looked at like a lot of other kind of timeliney things and like factual things, because I was you watch this and you think, dear God, like how much of this was dressed up for Hollywood and how much of it actually did happen. And like I read so many articles that are like, yeah, the real story is like even crazier. So
Yeah,
I
make that
feel,
movie. Why not make that movie though? I don't get that. I don't get that. You know what I mean?
but I feel for that reason I felt more comfortable watching, because I felt like, okay, the things that they did choose to give airtime, with the exception of obviously like a few glaring moments. For example, Dave Dellinger didn't punch a marshal.
Yeah, that one really sticks in my craw. As like
Yeah.
that is reprehensible, I would dare say. Like,
I mean, like that is a character assassination, and that is one of my few like only changes. But I
great
would say
moments,
on the
great moments
whole,
in the film that John Carroll Lynch is a sensational performer, and when he's saying sorry to the guy afterwards, and it's like, I'm sorry, beautifully performed, but it just once you know that piece of information, it's like irreversible. You can't, it's like why,
there is a
but why,
story.
but why do it? Anyway,
There
sorry,
is a
go.
story I read. He obviously was, a renowned pacifist, conscientious
Yeah,
objector. He did punch someone at Yale, but then felt so bad that he cradled the guy until he came to and was like
put that story in
apologizing
there.
profusely. So like I feel like they wanted to take that sentiment but apply it to these events. So they just kind of like, you know.
No, I know, and there's a lot of,
Yeah. But yeah,
and
I'd
there's a
say
lot that I will take. There was a lot that I will
for
stand.
me, for me on the whole, I feel that they did do a sensitive and respectful job of portraying these things. And I know what you mean about like the Forrest Gump kind of element of it, like, you know, with like the kitschy score and like introducing people in this really like pop up kind of way with the
Everything.
title
Do you not
card.
just
But I
think
feel
that
like that's
everything
just
just
like,
feels so clean?
oh, for sure. But then I think also like that was one of the things that endeared me about it. Like,
We're not talking about clean things. We're talking about one of the darkest moments in our history.
mm,
That
yeah,
I think
but
quite shamelessly was like, I mean, this comes out the summer of 2020, which like on the heels of
mm,
George Floyd. And so you've got this sort of, I don't think there was any manipulative
well,
strategy
no,
in
I
advertising
can
that
speak to
film.
this because obviously it was originally planned in 2007 with Spielberg. It was
Spielberg
gonna
goes
have
to
a whole
Sorkin
host.
specifically.
Yeah, it was gonna have a whole host of like naughties names. Will Smith as Bobby Seale, Heath Ledger as
Yeah,
Tom Hayden, Philip Seymour Hoffman as William Kanzler. Yeah, that one hit. That one hit on quite hard.
he does
Um,
not have a lawyer.
obviously postponed for that time, and then was finally scheduled for re-release in the wake of Trump's inauguration. So that was kind of the resonance that they were hoping to find um, with contemporary audiences. The Black Lives Matter protests was pure coincidence,
Yeah.
and yet, yeah, I mean, you could argue either way, but I think there is something to be said about how that has transcended time. I don't I don't feel that it was manipulated
No, I'm not
that
saying no,
way.
no, no, no. It was one of those things, but I think it's because it's not even that we were looking at horrible things at night and then watching this movie. It's that in the middle of this movie, you're cutting to the real footage, which is still astoundingly terrifying, and then you cut then to people playing dress up in a field, and I don't know. It just really didn't. I don't think the shot footage that they shot and created has any of, and it never could. So I guess, well, no, actually, I'll take that back immediately. Of course, it could. And I just don't think that Sorkin is a visceral enough filmmaker, or as a filmmaker or a writer that interested in this side of things. I've listened to multiple interviews with him, and this week, and he's on about how he's never written a project that he wrote to direct himself. He is not, and he said in the interview, he was like, and if I did know I was going to direct it, I would have probably found a way to not see the riots. And that is just one of those very enlightening sentences, I feel, that once you hear, you go, well, like you don't even need to hear it. You're like, it's very clear that Sorkin is not interested as a filmmaker necessarily in the riot side of things, other than showing the riots and making that a sequence. I think the sequence is very, is very visceral and very well edited more than anything. But from a filmmaking point of view, no. And the choice to introduce the real footage of the convention, and then cut straight to just like here and there. And
It's really
yeah,
interesting about him not kind of wanting to show that. And like, I wonder if on a next watch that will translate like his kind of reluctance to spend too much time in like the gorier moments. I don't know, for me the cutting to the real things worked, even though it felt so dissonant. Like obviously like I could tell
mm,
like what was very staged versus what was real. But I don't know, something about that landed with me because it was almost like I'm gonna get very analytical, but like it was almost a commentary on like, you know, them being perceived in one instance to like not be taking this seriously and to be like, you know, a bunch of hippies like playing dress up in a field versus the like
Rhian, don't.
gravity of like
Rhian, you
reality.
don't actually believe that, surely.
I'm posing a question to you. I'm posing like an alternative thought to you.
My answer to that question is no, it's just not a very well made film. And he doesn't know how to present grit or, realism on screen. Everything has this very staged quality. And that is why he does such a fine job in the courtroom. And I really think he does. Um, yeah, speaking of the Oscars, so there is this sort of bizarre COVID Oscars. Who's going to pull through? Nobody likes My Beloved Mank because it's long and boring or whatever. And The Father creeps in, and then we just get this Nomadland train, and everybody watches Nomadland, and Nomadland wins Best Picture and Best Director. Sorkin
I don't
they
even
get
think I don't even think I had an awareness of the fact that this was released in 2020 at the time. Like, because
yeah.
it was suggested to us by our drama school teacher because it was obviously rife with like American politics and history.
Mm,
I just assumed that it had come out like years before.
mm.
And so I think I would have been a lot more angry come Oscars that it, you know.
Yeah, that would have been terrible to witness. What did Steve think of Judas and the Black Messiah?
Um, I don't think we ever spoke about it. I imagine he really liked it.
Mm. It's just one of those. It's yeah. Well, this is the thing, and then people talk about Chicago 7 for Oscars. Who's going to get nominated for Best Supporting Actor? There was the possibility that Baron Cohen was going to run in Best Actor instead of Supporting Actor. That didn't come to pass. He ran in Supporting Actor, and he is the one that is nominated. Interesting. And then Leslie Odom, because you've got three big movies about sort of the political. Because One Night in Miami is also released this year, in this COVID Oscars, which I thought again was a fine film. The best part of that were the performances, and you got Leslie Odom Jr. in there as Sam Cooke. Paul Raci, I thought was sensational in Sound of Metal, and then both Lakeith Stanfield and Daniel Kaluuya both nominated for Best Supporting Actor in this weird turn of events. Even though Lakeith Stanfield is very clearly the lead of that film, and Daniel Kaluuya wins very, very, very deservedly. Baron Cohen is not my nomination for Best Supporting Actor. He's not in
No.
my top 4 nominations for Best Supporting Actor. Um, I no, most certainly
This is an
not.
example of me overlooking something because I like it and you doing the exact opposite. So obviously with this film being scheduled for release in or production in 2007, Sacha Baron Cohen saw that this is going to be made, rang Steven Spielberg up. Why don't you just call Taylor up? Rang Steven
What is
Spielberg
that?
up and said, "I want to be in this movie." Um, and they were like, "Yep, you're a shoe-in." And then obviously all this time went by. So now he's 49, I think, playing the 32-year-old. The 32-year-old Abby Hoffman. But so many of them are like a good 5 to 10 years older than who they're meant to be playing, and you
And
just kind
that
of
sort of, it's not that sort of stuff,
disbelief.
doesn't
You're
it?
like, okay.
Because it's not about him being a young stud. That sort of stuff thing doesn't bother me. Maybe historic. That's where sort of historical inaccuracy doesn't bother me. If there was a scene where they were like, "Oh my God, I'm a young man trying to fight the world," then that's another matter. But this isn't part of that story, so that doesn't bother me at all. Oh, that's all you had to say about Sacha Baron Cohen. Sorry. He
But
kind of.
I
Oh God.
I mean, I can't imagine anybody else in this role. Like, I think, dodgy accent aside, it's a testament to his talent, because he was able to move me so much, even with the dodgy accent.
It's not a dodgy accent, Rhian. It's one of the worst accents. I'm amazed that this isn't considered. It's. I don't. They
I
must
think he
have
was able to
filmed.
slip through the net for so long because British people watched it and they were like, Boston, I guess.
Yeah, astoundingly bad, really. And this movie features loads of British people playing Americans, and I don't think any of them are good, really, apart from Mark Rylance.
Mark Rylance,
Let's
yeah.
let's play a fun game. These are movies. These are people I completely forgot were in this movie. Jeremy Strong,
Very strong. Yeah.
Mark Rylance, completely forgot he played William Kunstler. John Carroll Lynch, completely forgot. The wonderful Ben Schenkman. Have you watched the Angels in America TV series?
No.
No, he
No, I
plays
need to
Lewis.
see.
He plays
Oh,
Lewis.
okay.
Oh, he's sensational. He's very, very good.
I could get down with that.
You would that might be a next project, actually. Al Pacino plays Roy Cohn. He's brilliant. I have sex with. I am a heterosexual who has sex with men. He's very, very good. Meryl plays. Patrick Wilson's in it. It's very, very good, really.
That's great.
Emma Thompson's in it.
Wow.
It's very good. Anyway, and most importantly, and I think this is, well, it's not by design, completely forgot about Michael Keaton. I mean, I really did watch this movie once in 2020 and then haven't thought about it since, really.
Repressed it since. Yeah.
It's not
Whereas
even.
I thought about it maybe every day.
Yeah. And then, so it starts, the movie starts, and yeah, and I'm like, oh, wow, this is a lot better than I remember. And then there are times where I'm like, oh no, this is a lot worse than I remember, actually. But overall, I enjoyed my time with the Chicago Seven. In regards to the film's timeless subject matter in 2020, Aaron Sorkin described the film as more being about modern day than the 1960s. He explained that the scripts didn't change to mirror the times changed to mirror the script. What a
Okay, that is
pile
a
of
little
shit.
awful, but
Yeah.
the sentiment is there, but yeah. Just
You want to talk about two crossroads? Seth Rogen was set to play Jerry Rubin. Until
way.
Jerry, that I think that could have worked.
Yeah, yeah.
Here's my movie. Here's my pitch right now. You want to talk about there's nobody else you can see in the role of Abby Hoffman? Jeremy Strong. Jeremy Strong as Abby Hoffman in this movie is like infinitely better. And Seth Rogen as Jerry Rubin, and you've got like a movie that is up by 10 points.
I do think Jeremy Strong was fantastic, and he appears in a lot of my best nights. And it's not that I don't think he could, but I like Sasha just has my vote of confidence. He just
And you're saying all of this before Rebel Wilson's autobiography?
I mean that's very murky, obviously.
No. And here's your bigger crossroads. Talking about public terrible people. Jonathan Majors was set to play Bobby Seale, and that's another one where you're like, oh great. You don't know what Jonathan Majors is, do you?
I don't.
Bad guy.
Oh, just a bad guy.
Just terrible guy. Terrible guy. He was
Oh,
yeah, that's the reaction. And now they have to change Marvel. Oh no, that's the worst thing in the world. Never mind
yeah. No,
the women involved.
if if I had a wish, I would love to have seen the original planned cut of this. I would love to see the Spielberg version of this.
It would just be so much better directorially.
Mm.
Sorkin is not a good director. Do you know how hard it is to have me not enjoy? Well, I actually take that back. I think most of my issues with Being the Ricardos was with the script more than the directing. So, did you watch Being the Ricardos? That's another movie that disappeared. Javier Bardem and Nicole Kidman as Desi Arnaz and Lucille Ball, and J.K. Simmons as William, what's his name anyway, and just gone, disappeared. Movie that doesn't exist anymore. A fine movie, a movie that I like enjoyed to an extent. Ah, interesting. Um, where do you want to start?
I'm gonna ask that before we actually get into the meat and
Mm,
gristle of this movie,
mm.
that you just try and take a journey into my mind. Blissfully naive, like out of context. I'm sitting down to watch this little film about Chicago. Again, you said comparison is the thief of joy, or fruitless.
I'm sorry. Comparison is the thief of joy. That's
That is a
astounding.
phrase you didn't come up with it, but that it's like a fruitless exercise in
I always say
ridicule.
that comparison is often a fruitless form of criticism, but
You should
there
write
is
that
a
down.
lot. I write it all the time in my reviews, and I often catch myself by going, I know I say this all the time.
But I just, yeah, I just want you to compartmentalize for a moment and just enjoy yourself.
Now, I can talk about issues I have with this film. My issues are not that there are better Sorkin courtroom movies.
And that's fine, and we can get into that.
Yeah. Um, your nominations, best 10-minute stretch.
Um, I mean, you're going to disagree with all of them.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
So you got the opening sequence,
Hmm.
um, of different like overlapping testimonies into
Yeah,
like the changing of the picture. You
that
highlighted
I've
a moment in history.
yeah that I've got that I actually do have in that I do have that in a couple of specific happy moments. Specific happy moments. We should make that. Should call it that instead. So yes, there is. I do like the opening to an extent.
Opening statements. Joseph Gordon-Levitt just realizing like, where the fuck am I? The radical left. That's what I was gonna say. Different costumes. Uh,
Oh, because
the
you sent me a quote the other day, like it was I love what she's having. And it's like nobody cares or says any of these
I
things.
quoted that whole scene. That like, and that makes the rounds on like Facebook Watch.
Facebook, not even TikTok. You normally say TikTok. That makes the rounds on
I don't have
Facebook.
TikTok. The lead up to, the initial protest in the park, um, obviously, the actual uh riot moment with like um the fake cross-examination interspersed with what actually happened, and then the ending. And that's the thing. It's every episode we find new ways to bitch about the structure of of this podcast. But yeah, I find it's difficult to kind of pinpoint stretches because the whole thing is so fluid for me. And I would say it has a very effective like 2-act structure with kind of the initial protest and then Fred Hampton's death as like the real turning point of like, we got to get our shit together, like converge ideas. This is bigger than us. But yeah, I'd say like it just moved at a pace that was so like seamless that it was hard to pick out like specific moments.
I'll come in hot now. This movie belongs to. There is one performance in this movie that is the best performance in the movie, unequivocally, and is absolutely sensational and deserves more acclaim than they have ever received for anything. They are astounding. They hit every mark. They feel believable even when delivering turgid dialogue. They are sensational. And that person is Mark Rylance. He deserves.
Okay, that is not what I have written on my notes.
Because it certainly isn't any your. Oh, are we going to? When do we talk about Eddie?
We'll get to Eddie.
Who are you going to say?
I thought you were going to say Yahya Abdul Mateen, who played Bobby Seale.
Yeah, he's excellent, but the film doesn't belong to him.
Like,
because
obviously instances of, like you said, turgid dialogue just sold at like completely.
Oh, he's excellent. Yeah.
Provocatively.
No, yeah, he's
his flowers.
Well, no, because he came out the year that the better Black Panther movie came out, and he should have been, like it's one of those things that happens. It is an excellent performance. I forgot how great he was. And you want to talk about best supporting actor for the Oscars? Come on, you really want to fight for your boy Cohen over Yahya Abdul-Mateen?
Oh no, like
yeah.
I mean, it's a great ensemble piece, like, and that is like the nature of what they were trying to do with the trial, is kind of put them into this like band of misfits. But
I do have major issues, to be frank, with how the Bobby Seale character is presented and dealt with, and how that story comes to pass. I have issues with it. The fact that the mistrial is this like sort of triumphant moment. I just don't. It feels icky, and like the score swells. And again, don't want to hold historical fact. That's not how it occurred. He was bound and gagged multiple times throughout the trial, and that mistrial came later. I just don't like. It feels icky to me. It's trying to make.
I don't.
I said all of this about Killers of the Flower Moon, and Terry Gilliam's criticism of Schindler's List, in that, like for him, Schindler's List was a movie about triumph, and I just, in these moments of the darkest history of American time, I don't feel comfortable with ending Bobby Seale's story there with mistrial. Yeah. No, it just feels icky.
I understand where you're coming from, but I don't feel that it was painted in that kind of cut and dry way for me. Like, yes, obviously people cheer because they're like, thank God, like a moment of sense and a moment of clarity from the opposing bench. I don't know, obviously, no, it probably didn't shake out that way, but
it didn't. So why present it that
and
way?
then Judge Hoffman immediately kind of quelling the crowd and being like, "You're not home free." Like, I feel like that, and also where it comes in the action, it didn't feel. Obviously, it's the last that we kind of really see of his arc, but it didn't feel like a huge victory in that like surface level sense. Like, it felt like one part of a still very complicated story where they're literally struggling against like the justice system. Like they weren't home free. Like, nobody was benefiting really from that situation. The only real moment of triumph for me was the ending, and even
Which I also
you
disagree with being played as a moment of triumph, to be frank.
well, because obviously at that point, they see themselves as like kind of putting the nail in their own coffin of like, oh, we're definitely not going to get acquitted now, but that was the point of like saying what you came to say was more important than getting an innocent verdict.
We're leaning now very quickly into issues and what's on. What I was saying before we cut out was about how we're leaning into changes, and I don't want to jump. What's the change just yet? I want to stay positive for as much as I can go. And I've come to something, and I don't want you to be offended by this, even though this is going to sound incredibly offensive to you personally.
But people who like this movie are stupid.
It kind of feels a little bit like a movie you'd show to, like, I don't want to say
have every opportunity to
no,
not
I know,
say what you're gonna say.
high school sort of like age. You know what I mean?
I mean, it
But
was
there's a lot of swearing. Like they even say cunt.
yeah,
Like there's a lot of
it was
stuff.
digestible enough that you could go into. I mean, it was recommended to me in my first year of a course that was like, you know, that dealt in these topics a lot. So like it was digestible enough that
Steve loves Aaron Sorkin. He
yeah,
loves Aaron Sorkin. He devours every. Why does he love Aaron
which
Sorkin?
makes so
Because
much.
they're.
But it
Yes, I
doesn't
know.
it make
I know.
so much sense for him? Yeah.
Yeah, it makes so much sense because I've seen the whole out. Sorry, that sounded judgmental. I've seen the whole output. You have no idea how much sense that makes. You
Yeah.
want to watch Steve Jobs next to something like just that verbose political dialogue. Anyway,
Yeah. It is verbose. That's the word I was looking for.
I
But yeah,
think
I
we
think
watched Malice. I'm trying to think what Sorkin I should make you watch and whether I choose a selfish choice like
well, why
Malice.
what this is the thing. Like, why would I now waste my time delving into someone's entire canon only for you to be like, he's a shit director?
Because he's the greatest, because he's one of our greatest writers. I don't think you're understanding what I'm saying. Sorry, that's a, Malice is directed by Harold Becker. A Few Good Men is directed by Rob Reiner. Social Network is directed by David Fincher. Moneyball is directed by Bennett Miller.
Fincher, isn't it?
Yeah, Bennett Miller.
Mm.
Steve Jobs is directed by Danny Boyle. The Aaron Sorkin movies I have an issue with are the ones that he also directs. Molly's Game, this, Being the Ricardos. He is
But
not
yeah,
a good director. Sorry.
going back to your previous point, I think I see what you mean. It's like
The American
digestible enough that
president
you
was
could
also
go
Rob
in.
Reiner. Sorry. Continue.
You know, I can hear it as well. It's not just for the view. Put a title card in. I know you love those.
Thomas Carruthers podcaster. It's like we're going to be meeting these people for the next 2 hours and 12 minutes. And yes, it is 12 minutes. And we know who these people are. And
But that's the thing. Like I think this like sometimes is a virtue of like going into a film blind and immediately being like, okay, these are who these people are. These are the stakes because they had a lot to cover.
they had a lot to
In
cover,
2
but they
hours and
also
12
refer
minutes.
to people by first name and second name every single time. So I don't need, I don't like the amount of times they say Tom Hayden, the amount, like, Abby Harfin,
That's like
William
Tom
Kunstler.
Hayden.
Yeah, they always say first name and second name. So it's not like, it's
But
not like for the rest.
that's by design. Like they're
No,
talking
I know
about the
that, and that's fine.
notoriety of these people
And
and kind
that's
of
fine. Just don't
the
have the title
image
cards.
that they project and like, you know, the great Tom Hayden, like it's etc etc. I'm
Who
quoting
did Tom Hayden
broadly.
marry for 20 years?
Why if you ask me that?
Jane Fonda.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's like it's showing kind of like the almost the overuse of their names and like what people know them as. Don't give me that look. To kind of counteract with like the private personas as well.
Mm-hmm. Things I
You-
liked. Oh, go on.
You haven't talked about your best 10-minute stretch yet.
I haven't. The no, I have a few nominations for single minute. I would say best 10-minute stretch is harder because I don't think there is a full 10 minutes that I don't have issues with. Like I could make the argument for the like but this in every single scene there's just like a little itch in my back where I'm like, I can't give this 10 minutes. I can't. I think my biggest, I love the Ramsey Clark stuff. I think that is completely pulled off. And I think it's by design. And I think everything is by design and everything lands. And even though you've got the Sorkin winkiness of, I was wondering when you were going to ask me to be, you start with, and you're like, okay, all right, okay. What were you, what? And all that. And I think it's by design. And I said this in my original review. This is one of the opinions I've never changed. Is that in all of these courtroom movies, I don't know how versed you are in the courtroom movie world. There's always like that star witness who comes at the last minute in the verdict. It's the wonderful Lindsay Krause doing an Irish accent. Who are these men? Who are these men? Great. Oh, I love the verdict. That is a great, anyway, young Charlotte Rampling. You want to talk about, anyway, they don't need to get hot for young Charlotte Rampling. But good God, 1981 Charlotte Rampling is another, anyway, she's like smoking and drinking. Anyway, we're talking about courtroom dramas. The star witness and the fact that this, we're building up and you're like, oh, and they've got Keaton because he's going to have like a huge monologue and he's going to steal the movie and he's going to win the trial. And it comes to nothing. And I think that is the big sort of 10-minute subversion that really, really, really works. And there is no issues I have with it. The other stuff, I just have, I hate the Sacha Baron Cohen stand-up stuff because it's when his accent's the worst. I don't know whether that's the first thing they shot. I don't know how it got worse in those particular scenes. But I just don't believe him as a stand-up. He's got so many cringe lines. We'll talk about it in a second.
It's not a stand-up set, which he does say.
Oh, sure. Sorry. Yeah. However, I do have a lot of best single minutes. So I don't know if you want to go there because I do.
Yeah, sure.
All right. As a piece, as an overall thing, I do think this movie has major issues that just don't work for me. However, there are so many. This is where my perfect structure of the podcast comes into effect because there are so many little moments and scenes and single minutes that Sorkin manages to land where he doesn't manage to land otherwise, in my opinion. Small Child with Tom Hayden. Oh, sorry, that was supposed to be a change. I actually only have 2 single minutes. I find it very funny at the start. Who is this? And I'm just going to bully Alex Sharp. But when we first meet Tom Hayden, got Alex Sharp at the monitor. It looks like he's been brought in for high school counsel to talk to the kids. And it's like,
well, it's the SDS. It's the students.
Like, no, I know. But is Alex Sharp a student?
I would assume so, yeah.
Okay. And they arrested him? Anyway, it doesn't matter. I only have 2 best single minutes. The dismissal of jurors 6 and 11, so very quickly on the heels of 6 and 11. Again, that's very cute, isn't it? But I'm allowing it. So very quickly on the heels of, she was showing me that she reads James Baldwin and the jury number 6 was nodding. Has she done things, that ginger lady? I remember her face looks familiar. I don't know if she showed up in other later Sorkin stuff.
I don't know. I feel like I've just seen her in this. The 10 times that I... Juliet Angelo. She was in Hope Springs Eternal.
Okay, so no.
NCIS.
Don't want to bully some young actress and find out that she's actually been in nothing.
I'll Be Next Door for Christmas.
Oh, what a bizarre sentence. No, I'll be next door. Do you love bad Christmas movies as much as I do?
No, can't abide them.
Oh, Rhian.
Hate
just
them.
such a buzzkill. They're just so sweet and lovely and
Sorry.
funny and nice.
Cut the cameras. Thomas Carruthers calling me a buzzkill.
You've been watching too much Sorkin. Well, Thomas Carruthers calling me a buzzkill. But are you saying that in the sense of I kill Buzz, or in the sense that there is a Buzz that has been killed because they are predisposed? However, I've proved my own point twice because I sent a voice message of fake Sorkin to you last night, and I just did one. Fake Sorkin is incredibly hard, and I didn't even pull it off them for the joke. Real Sorkin is incredibly, incredibly hard to do, and it's very easy to mock in the sense of, oh, blah, 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 and everybody's talking very quickly. And again, I'm being rude to you, but like the way that you were like, I know about the Sorkin, that sort of zippiness and fast talking, but like there is so much more to it in this. There is that profound that verbose politicalness, that intelligence, and there is that thing that frankly works against him from an authorial point of view, in that so many times you feel like Sorkin's talking, and no more than in the newsroom, where Jeff Daniels' character is basically Sorkin's mouthpiece week for week. And there is, and I was listening to the wonderful Sean Fennessy and Amanda Dobbins on Big Picture. And Sean was very quick to note the sort of difference that's occurred, where for so long of his career, he was creating things like, if Hugh Goodman's All Creations, The West Wing, he creates an entire White House. And for these past 4 films or so, well, no, beyond that, sorry, if you include Social Network and Moneyball and Steve Jobs, pardon me, he has now become this mission of only doing real life stories about real life people. And I think that's interesting in itself. I'd like to see him create something again. Sorry, and my other best single minute, which is the best moment in the movie, is the mayor's aide. And so that great Rylance, so when did you call the FBI? And
When
this
you
is where
the FBI.
yeah. And then on top of that, Mr. Fineglass, his name is Wineglass, and then that ends with the first Hoffman and Rubin overruled. And again, that wears thin by the end. I know it's on purpose, and I know that, and I know that that's purposeful, and I actually wouldn't change it, but it does kind of wear thin and get a little bit annoying. But the first time that they say overruled before he does is electric. And it's a great, and then the striking of the whole cross-examination. And that was my other point, is that I think, if I was to do a sort of ranking of performances in this film, it would be Rylance, Mateen, and Langella, because I think, Sorkin was very quick to say in all the interviews about how, if I put in all the other stuff that the judge did, people wouldn't believe him. He'd be too villainous. And that's a very easy thing to say, to sort of get people off your back if they say, well, he's ridiculously over the top villainous. I have no qualms, or I completely believe that Judge Hoffman was that bad and was worse. But I think Langella does a great job at playing him as a curmudgeonly old man of a different generation, and not some mustache twirling villain.
No, I completely agree. Like, it's such a hard job to show these actions without it coming across as cartoonish, or like he's doing it to get a rise out of it. Like, he's incredibly professional in his conduct, like, and bar those little moments where he lets emotion get the better of him. But it's like, you can absolutely believe that he believes he's acting justly the whole time. And that's what makes it so infuriating.
And
I am keeping control of my courtroom. Like, you are the ones crossing the line time and time again. Like even kind of combating Kunstler, who's like a renowned, like, practicing lawyer.
Who was a lot, but Kunstler was a lot more punk and did a lot more like quote unquote unloyally things than this movie represents. And they kind of make him another sort of sturgid figure.
Same with Charles Gary. Like, I'd love to see
Yeah,
the Charles Gary spin-off because he was like theatrical.
exactly. Put all that in your movie. Make your movie better. You know, I don't get it. Anyway, sorry. What was I gonna say? Judge Julius Hoffman, something about Judge Julius. Oh, what's the other big? Yeah, and that's another thing, that the tide's turning, because like he was the judge for the Lenny Bruce obscenity trial, I believe, and so on that, in that case, everyone was kind of on his side. Well, not right-minded people, but you know, like the tide's turned, and now by 68, not everybody actually agrees with, you know, Lenny Bruce being some, you know, sicko saying fuck, you know,
Yeah.
and you can feel that tide turning against him, and it becoming more of a kangaroo court, just like Oppenheimer, a movie that you thought was meh. Do you have any other nominations for best single minute?
I have several.
Oh, of course you do. Yes, sorry, yes.
So I've got the initial recess, when they're in the meeting room.
When Fred Hampton shows up.
Yeah. Where they're bickering and it's like that really fun dialogue, and then, oh no, we're all okay, we're all good. What the fuck was that? The mayor's aide, where they're asking for the permit.
Yeah.
The $100,000 moment. Although that was the one that you talked about, the cross-examination.
It's okay.
With friends like these, where all the cops are introducing themselves with their aliases, and then
are there any other? Yeah, is there the possibility that there were only 7 people rioting and that
leading 10,000 undercover cops in protest?
Which again I have an issue with,
weed,
but we'll talk about
that. Just Yahya Abdul Mateen's like incredible performance in the prison. You all got the same father. Tom and Abby's argument in the house, when Cancer comes in. Tom tried to attack me, but by sheer intellectual superiority. And then Abby on the stand.
Oh yeah, I forgot. No, I didn't forget. Don't worry. It's his best moment. It is his best moment. Again, the Kunstler moment. The see, I don't see that as the Tom and Abby argument scene. I see that as the Kunstler. Did you or did you not say? You know, and did you stand them down? I just see Mark Rylance just owning every single person on screen over and over again.
I have no qualms with Mark Rylance. I thought he was amazing. And again, it's that like.
Have you watched Bones and All yet?
Yes, I have.
What a guy! What a guy!
I watched Bones and All in year 7, because we had a substitute teacher.
Is that when it came out? How old are you?
I'm 23.
Bones and All didn't come out when you were in year 7.
It was out.
No. It
was out.
It wasn't out when you were in year 7. You must have thought you're thinking of a different. What is Bones and All about?
Oh no, I'm thinking of. Oh no, I have seen Bones and All. Yeah. Oh.
Are you thinking of Bridge of Spies?
No, I'm thinking of The Lovely Bones.
Oh God.
No, Bones and All was.
Brilliant. What a great movie.
Terrifying. And then I had a debate with Ruby about the ethics of showing cannibalism on screen.
Oh Jesus Christ!
Like,
kill me now.
That love, and she was like, "I'm scared."
Wait a minute. I'm sorry. Ruby talks about horror movies and she watched Bones and All.
No, she didn't watch it.
All right,
She
okay.
refused to watch it.
I'm sorry. We talk about the only question of ethics of cannibalism is Timmy and Luca making that their next movie after Armie Hammer, but that's okay.
Oh yeah. I knew there was something about the time.
No, don't get on your high. It's okay. Movies are great. Timmy being a weird twink cannibal in the Midwest in the 80s with Taylor Russell is a perfect film. Leave my beloved Bones and all alone. Um, and Mark Rylance, wow, that should have been Oscar nominated. It was absolutely sensational. Anyway, what were we talking about? I didn't have any other best single minutes. Did you? Oh, let's talk positively about Sacha Baron Cohen. His testimony is, very good, and it must have been the last thing they filmed because he sorted the accent out. It's bizarre how much it gets better throughout the film, and he's sorted the accent out, and he doesn't do any shtick. He doesn't do anything. Plays it completely seriously and wonderfully. And although I find the final line immensely cringy, and just unsettlingly, anyway.
And that was the line I sent to Tom yesterday when I was watching it for like the 15th time.
That's not my big problem with it. I have a huge problem with that, which I need to change, save for change, I'm afraid. Thomas Wheeler's specific favourite parts of the film. The happy, in the opening montage, the happy speechifying of JFK and then RFK and MLK and getting shot. Again, I've steeped myself deeply in the history of that era of assassinations, particularly JFK, so that's no surprise to me, but it's very good. I enjoy it to an extent, but it can't be underestimated that the gimmick and editing style of the first 10 minutes of this film is an extended version of the Austin Powers. Look at the size of that. Johnson, come over here and look at this. Have you not watched Austin Powers?
No,
yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Calmly
Look at that.
and politely fuck the motherfuckers up.
Yeah, but it's just an Austin. That is an Austin. Austin Powers did that in 1990. Like, look at this. Oh my God, that's a huge dick. Come here. Wieners, get your wieners.
If it ain't broke. we're gonna chastise the man for using a trope.
I don't know if it's necessarily a trope. I have an egg, which is kind of funny. But
is then we're gonna meet violence with non-violence because it's so like it tells you everything you need to know about all of those people in such a short amount of time.
It does. Jeremy Strong saying, "I have an egg," but then that's immediately ruined by like talking about the drummers, and it's like, we were talking about drummers, man. Gene Krupp. It's like, what the hell is happening? The hell am I watching?
They're stoned.
No. Oh, and they have a full memory of like all the famous drummers of the world. And no, Gene Krupp was the jazz drummer. And it's like, shut up. Bitchy Julius talking about no confusion between the Hoffmans.
Bitchy Julius.
I think we can start calling him Bitchy Julius. And I want no confusion. I am Julius. I find that very funny.
Father, no.
Yeah, kind of.
Next, you're gonna be saying that Judge Hoffman's your favorite character, and you don't actually care for the hippies.
I do think that Rylance and Hoffman are like superior than most people in the film. But anyway, don't fucking move on your feet. Those are contradictory terms, and I find that fine. I wrote it down because I realized that half an hour had passed without me writing down a best specific moment, and I thought, you know what, I'll just give them it. It doesn't, like in another world that would annoy me. Those are contradictory terms. Such a smart ass. Nothing made me laugh more than when they're when the undercover cops are then on the stand. White honky MFers, get out of my park. It was a great moment. And then, great moment when Hoffman sustained. Nobody objected. Great Stranger Than Fiction moment. Yeah. And then it's not really anything to credit this movie with, but I've always loved Abby Hoffman's Steal This Book. I think that just a great bit of counterculturalism. But I don't want to give that credit to this film, but this is the only place I can mention it. Rhian, your weirdly specific favorite brother.
I also had the catching of the egg. Reflex. Don't know what to do with the egg now, do you? Just every time Jerry Rubin's on screen, or Jeremy Strong's on screen.
You
The
haven't. Sorry,
Holocaust.
sorry, sorry. I keep doing this episode, and you keep saying no, so
No,
it's
I
not.
haven't seen Succession.
Oh,
Get
okay.
off my back.
I am the oldest boy. He is doing the absolute greatest work. Anyway, continue. Sorry.
If I'm gonna watch a long series of men rambling, it's gonna be Mad Men
When?
or Succession. So you choose.
Mad Men. I think you should probably watch. Don't watch it before. Oh my god, you're just gonna love Mad Men so much. It annoys me. Anyway,
The
continue.
Molotov cocktail stuff. They teach eighth graders that Oppenheimer made a bomb, not with materials you can find in Woolworths. Them talking about how unjust like it is, like tampering with the jury, and they say, why are there people like us? And he goes, well, how many of you actually went to jury duty? What else do I have? Tom Hayden's really chill arrest the next day. This is for me.
Is this why you say that you're attracted
Yep.
to Eddie Redmayne as Tom Hayden?
Do you know what? He doesn't do it for me in that sense.
You
But,
prefer
like,
Scatty's Commander. Oh, I need more twitches.
Oh, I can't talk about those films. But my dad absolutely can't stand Eddie Redmayne because apparently
Who
everything
can?
he does is
Who can?
is
I think this is
insane.
the only performance that is like I find watchable, and I still.
I think he's a fine actor. He's very like idiosyncratic. Like he has his little things. But then a lot of actors have that, and that's what makes them marketable.
No,
That's what
but
makes
it's
them hireable.
no, but it's a choice. This performance proves that it's a choice because this performance is stripped back of all those annoying little
Well, yeah,
ticks.
because he's playing a real person. There's only so much that you
The
can.
Danish girl was a real person. Stephen Hawking was a real person.
And I thought he was great in Theory of Everything. I didn't
Do you
watch the
think?
Danish girl.
Do
I
you
don't
think?
care.
Do you think in between scenes, Michael Keaton went up to him and went, "You stole my fucking Oscar."
Yeah, absolutely. That's why
Oh,
it was so tense. The
yeah.
Ramsey Clark scenes. Um, my last specific favorite moment was just Joseph Gordon-Levitt talking over his co-lawyer, being like, "Sir, please." Just I like the delivery of that.
Yeah.
Did you not like your man in this?
Since when has Joseph Gordon-Levitt been one of my men?
Since 500 Days of Summer.
Oh, so yeah, since I was a very young man.
Since you were a boy.
I think he's great. I think he's really good. I think that the choice to make his character sympathetic is one of the more reprehensible things that Sorkin chooses to change. I think it's bizarre.
I mean,
I think
I've
it is
watched that
like,
thinking there's no way that was the case, and yet like I can kind of overlook it because it is still such an interesting, not so much his redemption, but like his character, spending so much time with his character. Usually I wouldn't care, but it's such an interesting character study of like a young guy.
I'm sorry, Rhian. It's not a study. He starts. There is no arc. He starts in that first scene. He's like, "That's a law made to quell, black rioters from the Jim Crow." That he's already like liberal and saying things. There is no
He's
arc.
not liberal. This is the thing, and this is the conflict of
Show
like
some
his
show
own.
some respect for our fallen.
But this is what I find interesting. It's like he has this inner conflict of his own personal politics, which usually he would never let get in the way of like his work. He's asked his personal opinion, and he's like, I think they're stupid, like, and they're getting like you're giving them exactly what they want, a stage and an audience. but then even he can't deny the kind of flagrant abuses of power that are happening before his very eyes. And like this, like
Yeah, it's
again,
great as a character.
as
As
a
a
character,
character,
yes,
but not a creation. I love Mary Steenburgen, and in Philadelphia, she is the prosecuting officer. She is the prosecutor against Tom Hanks, and the whole movie, she's just a professional lawyer. You know, like she's evil by the stakes of the movie and the way that she is in her job. Going against this AIDS patient, and there's just one tiny little moment where she says, "I hate this job." Or case. I can't remember what she said, but she just says, "God, I hate this case," or "I hate this job." And it's just thrown away and it never comes back up. And that tells me more about her than having this bizarre, weird. Well, but then again, Mary Steenburgen in that movie is a creation. So I don't know. I don't know.
But yeah, I think a lot of creative liberties were taken with that character in particular. But it was one of the moments where I felt like, well, because it wasn't so big that it kind of changed the course of the plot. Like everything was still going to happen the way it happened.
The best line?
The best line. We've shortened this.
No, you can. No. Best line.
How many do you have?
I have one that
ascertain
you've
whether
already
it's
said. I've put your hand up if any of you have ever shown up in jury duty. Okay, then shut the fuck up. And I like that because Mark Rylance just plays it underplayed and just brilliant. And it's not some of the other examples. Continue.
Was that the only one? The only one you
Well,
had?
I've kind of hit up some of the other stuff, yeah.
Sure. What if the police hit you? I'll duck.
All right.
Chicago to end the war, not to fuck around. Tell Hayden I went to Brandeis. I can do both. Son, are you nervous? Why the fuck not? You got a haircut for the judge? That is so foreign to me. So is soap. Zing.
Why say zing?
Because it's the 60s. You want a park permit for public fornication and rock music? Absolutely not. What if it was R&B? Great. Just great. Just great time. You've posed that question in the form of a lie. Please feel free to throw some in. This is an open forum.
I've got some favorite lines which are unintentionally favorite lines, such as like cutting back and forth between the lady detective. Wow,
Oh my God.
the female undercover cop. It was like the group took a left on 11th Street, and then it immediately cutting to Abby in the bar. The gang took a left on 11th Street. And it's like she says it so. The group took a left on 11th Street. The gang took a left on 11th Street. And I was like, what the hell? Why would you
It
cut
felt
them?
like a bad audition montage.
Why would you put them back to back?
Some kind of fucking jungle signal to beat poets that they should begin pelting the troops with blank verse. Your children are pigs. Should leave their children out of it. Yeah, you're right.
Oh yeah.
This is my favorite. This is my favorite line of the whole thing.
Okay.
You bug our phones. You wire up a dope dealer. Be a man. You don't send a woman to ensorcel me. Means to enchant.
Yeah, but don't you think that that's just like hat in a hat? Like, did we need, because Jeremy delivers it so beautifully, the ensorcel of like, I kind of know what this word means. Did we need, what does ensorcel mean? Means to enchant, I mean, I know I love Oleana, what does to engage? What does that mean? To provoke? Well, then say that then.
I don't know. I think it worked with the dynamic that they have and the fact I believe that Abby would not have known what that meant. One egg is enough. They teach you that at the academy. Yes.
Oh, is that it? Oh, that's it. Let's touch on some of these other real life stuff, and then we can touch on the other changes in our third and final part. So David Dellinger, yeah, we talked about that. It was actually Dellinger, not Tom Hayden, who attempted to read aloud in court a list of people who had died in Vietnam, but it was immediately held in contempt and not allowed to finish. the implication that Hayden was the one who did this or that it has brought about the end of the trial is incorrect. If
Yeah,
anything, this solves our earlier problem with Dellinger. If you actually give him the list and not have him punch, then it gives Dellinger in this movie something to do without besmirching his real life individual thing, you know.
No, yeah, I get that, but I think again, I mean, we've spoken about the punch. Like, I don't feel that it was needed. Like, I obviously understand why, because like, you know, it's him being so like pushed to the limits that he's going.
Sorry, that's what I like. You know, I'm a conscientious. Yeah, for in World War II, even I want to hate you, or whatever he says.
Even I want to punch you. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
good.
yeah.
I think it's everybody's like values are being kind of tested and challenged or whatever. But I think if it had just been Dellinger reading out the list at the end, then his arc would have been too one note for me, because he doesn't.
Does he need an arc? He was a
Well, not
principled. He
necessarily,
was
but
a
like I think
principled man who stood by what he felt.
yeah, but then I think like, because I guess it's really only Tom and Abby that have like their moment to be like seeing it from the other person's perspective, or like, you know, Tom being the whole thing is Tom being less of like a stickler for the rules and kind of appreciating what the other side are trying to do and that they are taking it seriously.
Well, Sorkin is so very clearly Hayden, and I know this like just from watching his other things, and I know Sorkin's politics. Sorkin very, very firmly believes in Tom Hayden's side of things, and he was the first person. He was one of the only people that he could talk to due to all of the deaths that occurred.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, and so he only talked to Tom. I mean, Tom Hayden has since passed, but when Sorkin was developing the script, writing the script, he talked with Hayden as his go-to consulate, and
that comes through so much.
Yeah,
it's his film, like in large part.
Yeah, the character of Daphne O'Connor, an undercover agent assigned to surveil Jerry Rubin, the lady cop was a complete fabrication.
He wasn't honey trapped. Yeah.
So why? Just why put it in there? It's like there's so much. My problem is that you're not making a uninteresting thing interesting. This was an incredibly interesting thing with so many interesting elements. You don't need Aaron to make up this shit. Like, I don't get it. It's funny, sure. It's sad, I guess. And Jeremy's sensational and plays all the aspects of that. But
I mean,
and the 92 hours thing is a funny punchline. Yes, they were, but they weren't, And like we've already said, Richard Schultz was vehemently supported the prosecution on a personal level, and when asked, firmly refuted the idea that he stood when the names of war casualties were read aloud.
So, the hill you want to die on, Schultz? Okay.
Yeah, no, but like that's the hill you want to die on, Aaron. Like, why make this guy nice? We're going to be back with the changes. We've talked about a lot of stuff, but just a few more changes, and then a few fun facts, and then a few nice questions to end on a positive note. Because overall, this is, I would say, a good movie. And you would say,
shut up.
One. I am grinning like a little baby child because it's time for What's the Change. Rhian, you've frozen. Are you there? Oh, no. I'm back. I've already said that I'm grinning like a little child because it's What's the Change time. But I don't take any joy in this, Rhian. I don't take any joy in this, or, this doesn't make me happy.
I don't believe you.
Then don't believe me.
I wish I could believe you.
The meeting of Sacha Baron Cohen and the accent, which we've already talked about enough, but we're going to the park with Woody Guthrie. Oh no. This is going to be bad. But I don't think we've talked enough about how much Eddie Redmayne's accent also sucks ass. It's like,
I mean,
I just want to say that we're coming to Chicago, and it's like, what the hell is he saying?
British, of course. It's not.
Don't say of course. Don't say of course. Lots of people can do great American accents and have, and will.
I'm not. Yeah, that's a mutually exclusive point. Like, I'm not saying that naturally because he's British. I'm saying like, obviously it could have used work, but I've also heard so much worse.
Yeah, in this movie. The opening title cards also suck. I hate. Who are we trialing? The All-Star team.
I
Sick.
always forget about that.
Makes me sick to the beat.
All-Star team.
This is the Academy Awards of
It's an honor to be nominated.
Jesus Christ.
God.
The opening title cards do suck, but the fact that we have all the names on every single person, and I don't want to be rude to some of these people, but some of these people don't matter at all.
Well then, but like you had to do it for everyone, surely, or no one.
Then why did it stop after the opening? Why didn't it get one for Ramsey Clark?
Because they talk about him the whole time.
They talk about everybody the whole time, Rhian.
No, but like the intros are in the beginning. So they wouldn't have been speaking about people before they appear on screen.
Mm-hmm. And take your very scary hats off. It'd be sick to my stomach. I put here the Dellinger stuff is great, but then Cohen bombs with the line. When Derringer and Dellinger and Dellinger and Derringer, and it's very good. And he's like, because he's the only person in the squadron who knows the name. But then Cohen just absolutely bombs at the end with, and me and Mr. Hoffman are not related. Like, oh, just shut the fuck up.
Well, like,
and I know that it's on purpose. Moving on.
He is being obnoxious in that scene.
Yeah, but you can be obnoxious and funny, which, to my understanding, Abby Hoffman was. I understand that. I understand that sexism is a very real thing, and I understand that we're in 1968. So the ideas that we have of stereotypical sexism are now outdated, and were probably realistic in 1968. But the idea of these three guys just going, "Go and make me a fucking sandwich, you bitch! Get in the kitchen," really reeked of unrealism to me.
I did get the sense that they just said, "Okay, ad lib."
Yeah. Did I tell you the story about when I got a self tape for like an advert for like keeping women safe at night or whatever, and it was like, just like improvise some stuff. I was like, improvise, and then it should be its own Curb Your Enthusiasm episode. I was like, yeah, look at those legs, because I didn't want to be like, you dirty bitch or something. And I was like, what?
That's
what?
the thing, because you could have gone like way too big with it.
And I should have. I didn't get the job.
There you go.
This is the
fucking sandwich. I need that deep cut.
It's gone.
In case you ever tried like
it's disappeared
me and you want to make it big, I'm just going to release that. No context.
I've put here, and this is the darkest what's the change I've ever had. That is a very, very busy courtroom, and lots of people are stood up at the back. Nobody sits in the spot where Fred Hampton should have been after he's died.
Oh,
they just leave that space there. Nobody's like, this seat taken. sorry guys. Sorry. They just leave one space. Tom. They just leave one spare seat.
Respect for the fallen, sir.
Oh, Jesus.
Show some goddamn respect.
It's like, no, I'm going to leave. Why not actually show the moment where Tom doesn't stand up instead of just everybody talking about it? What are we doing? Where Tom does stand up. Sorry, where Tom does stand up for Julius Hoffman when they're all leaving for the Bobby Seale thing. Don't stand up for Hoffman. Don't stand up for Hoffman. And they don't show him
They do.
What?
They do show it.
Was I asleep?
What are you talking about? They do show it.
Do show it. I may have made a
And then he
tea.
says, "It's a reflex." Like 60.
No, I know he took. Yeah, do they actually? Then that is my error. I was
Note
making a cup of
passes, and
tea.
then they say, "All rise for Judge Julius Hoffman," and he stands up and looks at everyone, and it's like a good like maybe 5 or 10 seconds of him being like, "Oh fuck," and then he sits down.
Well, I made a tea.
Wow.
I
Didn't even
know.
pause the goddamn movie.
I was in a rush. Wasn't. Right. This one really annoyed me when they realised that they're going to reprimand that they're going to do the Ramsey Clark thing, and William Kunstler just showed up.
Just showed up.
Shut the fuck up. He's been doing great work for an hour and a half. He has been doing great lawyer's work. It is not his problem. Are you kidding me? Why does Mark Rowland stand for that? He's like, and William Kunstler just showed. Are you kidding me? He's
I
done
feel like that's
great work.
That's a joke, though. Clearly, like
No, it's not.
it's tongue in cheek.
They're trying to rile you up and be like, yeah, he's been pulling his weight this entire. It's like, no.
Because
I
they're all sat
really
around chatting to each other, like they are, like they're very buddy the whole time, even though he's like, "You guys are idiots."
I really hate. You knew this was coming. Our blood. I was like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? And then I've always talked to him about this. Oh, he said he uses vague,
He always does this.
Vague possessive pronouns and vague pre-modifiers. What the hell is going on? It's like, our blood. If our blood spills, let it spill up. What the hell is going on? This can't be.
I do think the only bit I found unrealistic about that was everyone being like,
yeah.
"Oh, of course, you weren't talking about them." It's like, I feel like realistically they would have gone, "Oh, well, that was a stupid way of saying that."
Yeah,
Like,
William Kunstler doesn't say it. It's just like he's like, are you stupid? What the hell? Oh yeah, that's gonna hold up in court.
Like, I appreciated them recognizing that wasn't gonna hold up in the next scene, and then just doing away with it. Like, oh, the beginning of that sentence was supposed to be, you know what? Fuck it, never mind.
Yeah, I guess.
Which kind of it was, yeah.
Which leads us into the testimony, which is a fine testimony. And then I'm sorry, I've never been on trial for my thoughts before. You're like, okay. And then it fades to.
That's the whole film.
Yeah,
Summed up in that one scene, and you want to change it?
No, I want to change what happens now. Fade to black. Sorry, what's happening, Aaron? 40 days pass. They show up in white jumpsuits. We're like, what happened to the rest of the movie? It feels beyond like a deleted. It just feels like they got lazy or they couldn't shoot it, or it felt like a COVID. And I don't think it was a COVID issue. It just felt like what? Wait, oh, okay, and then we fade up, and then we're in the final scene. It was bizarre to me how much was like just completely cut out, and then that was it, and then we just go to the end.
Like, yeah, I know what you mean, but I'm also like, what? I'm trying to think what I would have preferred to see in its place.
Not a hard fade to black.
Yeah, I just like I think we needed to just sit with that moment for a bit.
Yeah. And then we get to the ending, which is a triumphant moment and feels, is goosebumpy. But Daniel Pemberton's score, which up until this point I thought was pretty good, just has the most evil, sickening, melodramatic, just bullshit music I've ever heard. And the minute he's like, and these are their names, da, da, and I'm like, what are you? Come on. And again,
I
it's
thought
that
the score is and was incredible. Daniel Pemberton and Celeste. Yeah, just like served each moment exactly, I think, how it was designed to, and like bolstered the right places. I think The last watch was the only time I think that I didn't cry
Growing up.
at that ending.
Do you have any changes? Normally when one of us is overly negative, we actually do it the other way around. But I guess we've done it this way. Do you have any changes?
Only the ones that I've already said, which is about Dellinger punching the marshal. And what was the other one that I said? Yes, Sasha, an accent coach. Yeah, I think I'm not a stubborn person. I'm not a set in my ways person. And while I probably went into this thinking that it was a perfect film, I definitely have room for these new ideas around like what was necessary and what they could have, like all the material that they could have honored in lieu of like the fake stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Um, but it's still up there for me. Like
No, I know, I
some
know.
of the like, I mean, I've not watched a whole lot of courtroom dramas, but it's so compelling to me, and like the dialogue is just so top tier, and kind of that like intellectual like ping pong match in every scene. And I like in genuine like in performance, kind of the vocal technique aside, I don't think there's a weak link across the whole cast,
Yeah.
and
No, I agree.
everybody showed up.
No, I don't think anybody's bad. I don't really think anybody's bad.
And I will
There
be
were times that I
watching.
thought Cohen was bad, to be honest. But he got better as it went along.
um in the spirit of comparison being the thief of joy, no, in the spirit of like research, I will be watching um I don't know, Moneyball.
A Few Good Men is one of the best fucking movies ever made, Rhian. A Few Good Men is
I will be
astounding.
watching a few Good Men.
A Few Good
I
Men is
will
another
rewatch
courtroom
Dukes of
drama.
Hazzard. What?
A Few Good Men is another courtroom drama. Did you know that?
Yes, Tom, I knew
Don't
that.
be no, no. Maybe you didn't. No, I don't know. I don't know. But like, I don't. A Few Good Men sensational. You don't? Do you like Tom Cruise?
Not particularly.
Okay. Maybe you shouldn't watch A Few Good Men because you're just gonna be like, but it hasn't got my weird hippies and my boys.
I love my weird hippie boys. What can I say? I'm a simple woman.
Demi
Um,
Moore, Jack Nicholson. I'll tear out your eyes and piss down your skull. It's an incredible film.
as is
But
this.
a few fun facts. An appearance on NPR's Fresh Air, director Rhian Sorkin told Terry Gross that he'd had to edit Judge Hoffman's character significantly to play down the true extent of his arrogance and irrationality on the bench, as documented in court records. Asked why he'd done this, Sorkin said he feared that to portray the judge's behavior as it actually was would strike the audience as implausible, resulting in the movie being dismissed as propaganda. Which I can see, but also, I don't know. Just put it in there and just say, read the court documents. This is what happened. That is enough. And people won't.
Yeah, I feel like you don't have to justify it as much if it is true, you know, but I see what he means. Like, there's only so much that he could show within the time that he was given.
Nobody ever asks, what about all the stuff that you like made up? Anyway. We talked about how, the treatment of Seal was far, 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 far worse. And again, you could make the argument, that, well, no, actually, I was going to say you made the argument that it's not actually about, this movie isn't about Seal, but it is, he is a member of this, well, he's not a member of the Seven, but you know what I mean.
And
And
you can talk about the injustice, like in terms of Mateen, like in having this other movie arise in the same time frame. But it was almost kind of like serendipitous, because it's like, for anybody saying that, Bobby Seale didn't have as much airtime as the others, can just look to Judas and the Black Messiah. Like, it's like you said, like his whole argument from the dot was like, I'm not with these guys. Like, you're lumping me in with this group as a means to an end, like for your own political agenda. But like, I've never, like, I hadn't even met these guys like a few months ago. And so I think he obviously had to, his story had to, be brought to light. But I think any more, and it would have, like, kind of negated that point that he was trying to make.
Well, and it, and it just wasn't part of the trial as it went on. Jeremy's method acting. So Jeremy Strong is an infamous method actor, and he got real off-duty cops to beat him up and throw him on the floor and stuff. And you know what? All I've got to say is, I don't care. He's really doing excellent work, and him
Jeremy, why?
him
Why?
as him as
There's
him
no
as
need.
him
There's
as Kendall
really no
Roy.
need.
Him as Kendall Roy on Succession is one of the greatest TV performances ever put to film. So I
And
frankly,
what did he do for that?
loads of stuff. But he's on Broadway now in a play. So what is his process for that?
Interesting.
Well, he
What's
stays in
play?
character. We know that. It's An Enemy of the People by Henrik Ibsen, which is
Oh,
yeah. And so there were real climate change protesters who came, and everybody stayed in character. And he was like, let them talk. And Michael Imperioli from The Sopranos was like, get her out of here! Get her out of here!
that's
This
so
is
funny.
this is
That is
insane.
hilarious.
But obviously, An Enemy of the
Yeah,
People.
let 'em
Have you read
talk.
Have you read An Enemy of the People?
I know what it's about
Yeah. So I
and how
like
it pertains to the actual
yeah.
like protest.
So it's
That's
incredible.
hilarious.
What a brilliant moment in all of our lives. Get that woman out of here! Let her. It's incredible.
That's so
Oh,
good.
Michael, you whack. Tagline
Let her
rundown.
talk. Oh my god,
Let
incredible.
let her talk. Let her talk. In 1968, democracy refused to back down. Sure. You want to go for a second draft on that one? Or no? Okay. The move. Thomas, big question. Jerry Rubin became a stockbroker but died in a jaywalking hit by a car. That's the movie I want to see. I want to see this
Yeah,
hippie
honestly, spin-off.
the hippie who becomes a stockbroker. You know, this radical hippie, and he becomes a stockbroker and becomes part of the machine.
Well, that, that was a common thing of like these, the countercultural youth kind of getting swept up in like the grind culture of the 80s then.
Yeah. And then he get hit by a
Like
car.
the inevitable move of like, I'm gonna quote Paul Giamatti in The Holdovers. Every generation thinks they invented like debauchery and rebellion and everything else. Like, it's that thing of like your window is inevitably closing. Like, some people's ideas won't outlive them. And that is kind of like tragic in a sense. But then you've also got, far greater tragedy of people like Abbie Hoffman, who never gave up his ideals, but the world just got too much for him. He didn't like what he saw. So it's like, which is the better
I know.
outcome?
It's a hard life. It's a hard life when you're a hippie. You hippie scumbags. Which, if you were to cast me in a movie, do you think I could be a hippie? I could grow my hair out and do the whole Jerry Rubin, Abbie Hoffman thing.
Well, no, because everyone would be like, he's just making fun of hippies right now. If I were to cast you in this movie,
Okay, go.
I think Schultz.
I knew this was coming, and I'm not happy about it. Really? Not.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I'm not old, but Kunstler or something.
Maybe in a few years.
Maybe I write a lawyer play. Should I write a
Maybe-
lawyer? Should I write a
Maybe
courtroom
Wine
drama?
Glass in a few years.
Should I write a courtroom drama for us?
Yeah, that'd be good.
Oh, I love courtroom dramas. Oh, I love Primal Fear. Rereading Primal Fear. I love that. I love law.
Soon to be an episode, Jamie
Soon to be an
Lacer.
episode. Yeah, soon to be an episode. Right, here we go. This was an incredible moment. You want to talk about sliding doors? Listening to Aaron Sorkin interview. In 2007, so I'll try and do it as he said it. And I want you to, and I'm going to ask you now if that is the biggest sliding door of this movie being even worse. So when I first read the script, I always had the same ending. The ending was always the same. And whenever I was talking to people writing the score, I always told them, you're not going to get to write the final cue, because I always had the ending, which was we were going to get some incredible artist to do this amazing cover of Here Comes the Sun. And he was going to say the names, and then Here Comes the Sun was going to play. And then we took it, and I went, oh no. And then we put it in the editing suite, and it didn't work. And so I got Daniel to write something. I said, you've got to be better than the Beatles. What on earth is this movie if it ends on Little Darling?
What the fuck? Well, I mean, good on him for recognizing that it didn't work.
That was his
'Cause he could
idea.
have been so staunchly like, this was my
This started in
choice.
2007. So 13, for 17 years, he was like, no, sorry. For 13 years, he was like, yeah, no, this movie will end with a great cover of Here Comes the Sun.
Why though? Like, what does that have to do with anything?
Well, it goes back to, well, this is the thing, isn't it? It goes back to the cleanliness of this film and the unrealism and the hopefulness of this film and the quote unquote fake triumph of this movie, in that, you know, we did it. Everybody can be free and riot now, and politics is great. We did it, guys.
But that's not what it's saying. Again,
No,
like it's
I know, but
they're
you're not
they're
telling me that
expecting
it
the
doesn't.
opposite of, you know, the case being thrown out. Obviously, we learned through the title cards that the case was thrown out. But like at that point, they're doing it purely to honor the people that the case should have been about from the very beginning, not them. And they're doing it in the knowledge, under the assumption that they're going to get jail time for it. And that's the thing that people are applauding and celebrating. It's not like, oh my God, we're free. Like we outsmarted them. Like,
but little darling, it's been a long
that would have been
lonely
that would have been
winter.
actual. I probably would have been so angry had that happened.
No, you would have still loved it. It would have been some cover art. You're not telling. I don't believe you. I understand, because I have comfort movies myself, and we blind ourselves to the errors of these movies. we do, you know. But
it just wouldn't have hit the mark in the same. Oh, I guess, but that's only because I've seen it hit the mark like so differently for me. But
not anymore. Not anymore. You've stopped crying now. It's losing its power.
No, catch me on a tough day.
I'm just going to throw on Trial of the Chicago 7. That concludes the Trial of the Chicago 7. Rhian, was there anything left from your notes? Are there any questions or anything like that?
Oh God, I've made it through relatively unscathed.
You always do this. You're like, oh, I'm going to make you. Oh, wow. But what did you
always
actually
do this? But this film, I needed to. I didn't want to go into it and just have it be like absolutely shot down, and it wasn't, thankfully.
Did you think? What did you think I was not gonna like or hate or whatever at all?
I don't know. I just thought you're like anti-fun.
Oh yeah, because when I think
did have another note that I was like, if I say this, Tom's gonna go ape shit with me.
Go on.
Do I? We're at the 11th hour. We've had such a nice time together. I would say, for all its seriousness and all of its heart and all of its grit, this movie is on par with Marriage Story in terms of comedic moments. And that's what did it for me. Thank you guys so much. Please subscribe down below, support the Patreon, get in the comments.
This is your sliding doors moment right now.
Yeah.
The next project is a full bound bacchanal. Bound back. You can choose now. If you think your boy Aaron is that funny, that can become the Sorkin-a-thon. You can choose right now. Bound bacchanal or Sorkin-a-thon.
It's gonna be a bound bacchanal. I'm not. But like, that's not the discussion. Because also, it's gonna inadvertently be a Greta Gerwig Gaganza.
Gerwig-a-ganza. I did consider making it a Gerwig-a-ganza and putting in Ladybird and Little Women in there, but then I'm too anal, and then we'd have to do a Barbie episode, and not enough time has passed. I can't do. Just been so much talk about Barbie, and I wrote 1,000 words, and then people don't read the 1,000. The very pardon my writing, the very eloquent 1,000 words. Same with Killers. I'm sorry again. I write 1,300 words and very eloquently, and then people are like, "Oh, what did you think?" Yeah, no, I thought it was a masterpiece. And then they're like, "Nah, it's not too boring, not enough fun, not enough fun." And it's like, okay, well, I wrote
opinions. If people can read the whole thing and still have opinions. I read your whole thing and had opinions.
No, the Barbie one annoyed me. I literally had multiple conversations about, but it's not for you. I was like, come on, are we still saying that?
Well, I resent that as an argument, because I know so many men that were compelled by Barbie and did feel that it was for them. So
the best thing about Barbie was the Oscars performance. That made I'm Just Ken so much better in my mind. I'm Just Ken in the film landed so. We're not talking about Barbie. You
brought it up.
Right. What does this have to do with Barbie? A far better punchline than anything. You don't actually believe that, do you?
And we'll leave it there, I think.
That I was thinking about Adventureland, and that you've got your lovely Jesse Eisenberg in a Bound-back movie.
Which one?
The Squid and the Whale. It's Jeff Daniels and Laura Linney divorcing.
Of course.
Oh, Rhian, yes, you have no idea how excited you should be for The Squid and the Whale.
I'm having the best day.
It's 80 minutes. You don't have to be annoying and be able to talk about length or it's.
I don't talk about length in terms of. I will sit for a 3-hour film if you've got something to say, and you're not like dragging
Sorry,
things out.
did they not have something to say? You want to say that on record?
No, I didn't actually say a specific movie. You just filled in the blanks. But if the shoe fits.
Well, it could be anyway. It could be either of them. Could be either of them.
It was about Titanic. Too much, too long. I love Titanic. I'm kidding.
Titanic's a great film.
As we know.
Oh, what I am.
We have 8 minutes. We can't do a Titanic thing now.
That is the wrong sentence. We've got 8 minutes. We could do a Titanic thing right now. Titanic. No, Bound Back. What's next? What's next?
Do we want to spoil it for our viewers?
I think we already said in Juno.
I'll let you.
It's The Cat in the Hat. What a great film.
No doubt about that.
It's The Cat in the Hat. I want you to come in with the same energy of like, no, it's just really still is really important for me. And I think it does touch on the political things with the right, respect for the.
Yeah, this is my reward. I've slogged through.
Yeah, I haven't slogged. I like both. I like both Juno and Chicago 7.
No, but you've chatted enough shit about Juno and Child of Chicago 7, like for me to be rewarded with an unadulterated hour 45 of us just like gleefully talking about Cat in the Hat. I'm so excited.
In the what is it? In the living room.
Don't know. Step it in the living room.
That's the square, isn't it? Don't enter the
Yeah.
Oh, Mr. Humberflube.
Step foot in the living room.
Alec. My guy.
My guy. Coming back for the remake.
I'll have you. I'll have you. I think Little Preston is a genuinely funny.
We're getting ahead of ourselves.
We are getting ahead of
Trial of the
ourselves.
Chicago 7. Poignant.
Oh yeah,
funny,
yeah.
resonant.
Okay, so
Incredible.
have I talked to you ever about The Social Network?
Yeah. Didn't we do it? No.
No, that was Katrina. You wanted to do it.
I wanted to do it.
But it had already been taken. Yeah.
Katrina, if you're watching this, you're a snake.
Not just Katrina. Katrina and somebody who I never liked and somebody who you now don't like.
Where did we get this idea that I now don't? Oh no, yeah. I mean, yeah.
Oh, it's all right. He's not watching this. No, Social Network. So what would you watch? A Few Good Men. I just feel like you're going to be down on A Few Good Men, and I can't fucking do it. Just can't do it right now.
The question is not what I will watch. The question is what you will dare to hear me talk about.
Just watch any of it. I don't care. Steve Jobs is very underrated. Do you like Kate Winslet?
I do.
She's great. Do you like Michael Fassbender?
Sure.
Okay. Do you like Seth Rogen?
Yeah.
Steve Wozniak. Have you watched The Fabelmans yet?
No.
Oh, The Fabelmans is so good. The Fabelmans is so good. Charlie Wilson's War is a big no. Like, it's Mike Nichols' last movie, and it is so average, and it's so sad to think that was his last movie. Philip's great. Julia's in it. Amy Adams is in it. Lots of people are in it.
But are they really saying anything? No.
No,
really.
no, not really. The Moneyball's great. Moneyball is very, very good. But I don't know your opinions on baseball.
Love baseball.
Sorry, what?
No, I just lied.
And that's obviously Brad and Joan. You're not going to watch any of these movies. Let's just be honest. You're never going to watch any of these movies.
Well, no, I'm being for real. The Bound Bacchanal is my next port of call.
And then you want to do a Sorkanathon?
No, probably not. But that is my next priority of ones to watch.
Well, yeah, but you'd be watching those anyway. Aaron Sorkin is certainly in a quiet. I don't know what he's doing next, because Being the Ricardos really was a huge failure, and
that
nobody.
Was 3 years ago.
Something like that. It was that I think I was at Christopher Court.
Yeah, it must have been then.
Maybe not. I don't know. That was a mixed movie. Very mixed. Imagine making a movie about the funniest people ever and making it not that funny.
I'm imagining you making it as a successful actor / writer, and then just anyone combing the annals.
My mum has said this.
Your scathing reviews of so many people.
My mum has said this ever since I did my prom review, and it had the line, the problem isn't that James Corden isn't gay, the problem is that he's a bad actor. And she was like, what if you're famous? What if you're saying what? They can't say that. Maybe you only do movies that you like.
Oh, I love her. I love Sarah.
And it's like, what if you maybe only do movies that, But that's a lie. That's a lie,
You don't like anything.
No, I loved Drive Away Dolls was great. Loved Drive Away Dolls. Well, by the time that this episode comes out, Challengers will have come out. What if Challengers isn't good?
Can we see that together?
April the
Can we pencil
26th.
that in?
Well, Daddy needs money, so maybe not.
Actually, I take it back. I don't want to go anywhere.
The problem is that we're doing this, which to continue our modern erotic thrillers series with Hannah and Jazz. And I don't know actually if there's any coming out after Challengers. So that might be the final one.
Nah, there's always something, isn't there?
There isn't. Unless we rewatch The Voyeurs with Sydney Sweeney. No. Oh, go on.
No, I was just remembering that. I didn't watch it, but I read the Wikipedia, which I do for a lot of films that I think are going to be too scary.
How did they describe the stupid facts thing?
The facts thing?
She's like, she faxes him. I know what you did.
Oh, God.
And the poisoning and the eye blindness and the
eye blindness.
The
LASIK.
very, very erotic movie. Sydney Sweeney's great. Give her everything.
Yeah.
She's very good.
She could be in paint drying the movie and I would still be like, you go, girl.
Yeah. You wouldn't watch it. But you did.
Yeah, I wouldn't watch it.
Yeah. Did you? Like... I bet you didn't watch Madam Web or Immaculate.
Is Immaculate even out yet?
Yep. Watched it 3 weeks ago. Wonderful stuff. The Trial of the Chicago 7 is a perfectly average movie. Thank you, Rhian.
Averagely perfect movie.
Same difference.
Ba 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 ba